Well, it's actually been going on for quite a while. It's not something that it wasn't a jack in the box kind of reaction. We have been talking to one another over the last few months. Have been very reluctant to come back to active politics just because I have lost faith in fellow politicians who don't know how to keep their words. And then I'm really concerned about the apathy of our people to believe in themselves, that they actually can determine what happens on the day of election. They have been, it's like they've been crowded into a corner to believe that they have no choice. And the policy of the APC government that's in place right now has been to make sure that there is no opposition to them, both within the party and outside the party. And incidentally, it is actually comical that a group of leaders can say we endorse somebody who has just been 1 year into a 4-year program. So I do not understand the basis of those endorsements or decisions. And with the situation of things in the country as it is, one will expect that people will ask more questions, but people seem to be accepting to the fact that all they deserve at the moment is palliatives. And, you know, in the business I do, which is medicine, you only serve palliative to people that you are sure are going to die. The time that they are going to die is what you do not know. So it is sad that that is the situation where we find ourselves, where hope has been taken away from people. There's a systematic way of impoverishing the people and taking hope away from them in a situation where people can't even afford to fuel their cars, where they can't pay for electricity, where they cannot even think about where to go or what to do, where the youth have lost the ability to dream because everything is just dark. They don't have a hope for the future. They don't know how to change things. I would expect that people would think, oh, well, how do we change things? What can we do? But nobody's asking that question. Instead, everybody is accepting to say. And it's like they feel guilty for putting this government in place, so they feel responsible for what is happening.
Which of the government, state or national?
Well, it's very funny because I am very particular about Ekiti. That's what I'm interested in. I am not a national politician. I am actually proud to be a grassroots politician, despite the fact that I don't live most of my time in Australia or in Nigeria. But incidentally, I'm one person who, when I get to Nigeria, within 24 hours I'm in Ekiti. And within 24 hours after I leave Ekiti, I'm outside the country. So I'm really very rooted and very interested in Ekiti. And the entirety of my political life has been an interest in Ekiti. I know Ekiti often. I can possibly drive through this Ekiti with my eyes closed. I have studied the place. So my interest basically is Ekiti. I have not, and maybe that's why people who make the decisions in Abuja who don't come to Ekiti, or in Lagos who don't know anything about Ekiti, will never reckon with people like me because I have not shown interest in them. That may be an unfortunate strategy, but I'm fine with that. I know my people know me, and my interest is Ekiti. And the reason is, changes do not come in big numbers. It comes in a matter of seconds, in a matter of milliseconds. You don't die over an hour. You're not born over an hour. You're born in a minute or a second, or you're dead in a second. So little minutes really make a difference. So I believe that what I should concentrate on is how do I make a difference in my community. My community, as defined by my interest, is Ekiti. And why am I really worried about this community? It's a community that, for instance, in Australia, they celebrate graduation when you leave high school. Nobody talks about university education. So if you see that, I was in the hotel I was developing 3 days ago, and I gathered a couple of young people actually doing manual jobs and things. And do you know what I found out, which is very sad? Out of all of those people, only 2 of them do not have a tertiary education. Out of all of those people sweating, doing menial jobs, doing bricklaying, only 2 out of 13 do not have tertiary education. From economics to engineering to mathematics. So it means that we are actually wasting the entire lives of these people because we are not creating opportunities for them to think. And that is very sad, because if you realize what it means that if young people can live their entire life without being productive, they will retire without being productive. And what investments are we going to get from their entire life? Absolutely zilch. Nothing. We have a very rich soil. There are places in Ekiti that you go to that the topsoil is about 10 feet deep. And we're not using those things. We have weather that is 6 months wet, 6 months dry, 24 degrees to 33 degrees centigrade all the year round. It means that if you actually want to plant all the year round, we can by irrigation, isn't it? Yeah. It's sad that we are not really producing, and I mean primary production. Just produce things that the earth can yield for you. Break your rock, plant food. I'm not talking about processing your produce, which is where money really is. And there's no policy to do that. That's unfortunate. And when I ask people, why are you so lethargic about change, about doing things, they actually do not know. And you know, the latitude of expectation is so narrow. When you ask what is the performance, oh, the government is paying salaries, and I'm saying, wow, don't you expect to be paid salaries? You work for it. And the salary that we're talking about as marking as performance doesn't really take anything. From what I gather, you go to Abuja, or they send the money from Abuja, and your job as the governor is to say, okay, pay everybody. You don't need a governor to do that. You need a software, isn't it? Or a secretary in the Ministry of Finance or something to say, look, okay, money is there, pay. But what about growth? What about economic growth? What about infrastructural development? I drove to Ekiti today, and the only infrastructural development I see is a road from beginning from nowhere, ending from nowhere, that wouldn't change the trajectory of Ekiti. When you choose to construct a flyover over a road, what's the translation? It's only going to go in the same direction, isn't it? No other direction. It's not directing traffic away. It's a linear road. It's like you are stenting an artery. It's just opening the same thing. You're not diverting traffic away. And the reason why this happens is that we have no capability to solve problems. because we choose not to identify problems. And people are so uncaring about the next man. Because if they do, I want anybody to ask me to shut my mouth up. I want somebody to come up and step up to tell me that my life is better than it was 2 years ago. I want any student to come and tell me that my university is performing better than it was 2 years ago. And I want somebody to tell me that we have plans for people between the ages of 18 and 39, that we have projections. There are no projections, there are no plans. There's no health plan, there's no educational plan, there's no infrastructural development plan. Isn't it laughable that the life of a commissioner right now is not really as good as the life of a secretary when Mr. Adebayo was the governor? To me, I think what's happening in Ekiti is that the governors, they are like a driver sitting in a car, putting the car in reverse, looking forward and pressing the accelerator and saying, no, we are moving, but where are we moving to? We're moving backwards. Schools are no better. Lives are no better. The quality of life is not better. I got home 3 days ago and I found there hasn't been any electricity in this part of the town for the past 3 or so months. But these are simple things that can be done. Very, very simple things that can be done. And it only takes a determination to solve problems. I can't be impressed by somebody paying salaries. I can't be impressed by somebody patching roads. The same roads that were constructed by Wole Oluyede in 1957. And somebody is patching the road and telling me it's development.
Dr. Oluyede, you were a member of the APC.
I was.
And you later joined the ADC and contested the governorship election in 2022.
Okay.
What is the significance today of your membership of the PDP?
All right, let me put it this way. My membership of the APC is traditional in the sense that my father was a member of the APC until he died. And a few of my friends were in APC. And as I was telling somebody in the PDP today, one senior member of PDP, that it's just a natural progression of life that when my father passed away and when a few people advised me to join politics, I would naturally have joined the APC. And you know, when you get into APC, I'm one person that doesn't believe that challenges cannot be faced. When I decided to take active politics on, was at a point in time when the APC lost the elections, when the PDP beat them 16-0. It was the worst time a party could be. But I wasn't afraid of that. I entered into it when everybody who calls themselves big shots in APC now wouldn't come on because they were too ashamed of what happened, because they were too despondent about what happened. I came into the party and rallied up hope. That's the job I've done for years. It's not very difficult for me to say, look, you're sick, you have a challenge, it can be better. So I got into the party. And then the carpetbaggers came back and they decided that, oh no, we're going to conduct elections the way we do it. And when you know it, it's Babasope, or maybe I should use the word in Milocom. But apparently. So they came and the election was the biggest, the more you look, the less you see kind of thing. But I remained. But what is sad about the afterwards is that because some people within APC felt threatened by my engagement, you know, everybody assumes that because of my background, I should shy away from mixing and going about and working hard on the party. The first word I got was, any diaspora. And my thought was, diaspora, what is that? I'm born, bred in Ekiti. The only offense I committed was life took me away from Ekiti. And I was coming back to contribute. But I can remember one of the people I was competing with at that time would say, you can't just come here and use bread to carry our soup away. So there's a feeling that participating in government is really because you wanted to eat. So they did everything they can to make sure that you are frustrated away. And the word was diaspora and diaspora and diaspora, and it's a feeling that, no, we don't want you because you have left. Leave what we have here for us to chop.
But that wasn't a different situation from the status of the former governor as well. That's Dr. Kayode Fayemi.
Well, I think Kayode should tell his own story.
He was also like a diaspora.
Well, then the only difference was that when he came, he was the anointed candidate.
Okay.
I wasn't anointed. I had to work for everything I did, and that's what I did. I walked the walk, 177 wards of the state, and I did that, walked every one of them. There are times I will leave. Usually I leave Australia on Wednesday evening, get here on Thursday. By Thursday night, I'm in Ekiti, and I'm in Ekiti 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm back on the plane, and I get to Australia at midnight on Monday, go to work as a doctor on Tuesday in the morning, because I get to Perth around sometimes a few minutes to 1 in the morning. My car is usually parked at the airport. I get to the airport. My work is about 3.5 hours away from the airport. Drive to work straight away and take clinics, do surgeries, and then maybe the next week I come back. There are times, there are meetings. I can remember there was a meeting of the Career Development Forum one time. I landed in Perth at about, I think on a Tuesday morning, and they said, they want to meet us on Thursday, and I drove back, got on the plane again, flew back to Nigeria. So that was a commitment I had. So it shouldn't be surprising that I broke the bonds of, but then there was a gang up of, we should not like this guy. And, we get intertwined in the politics of Ekiti, and then some people will tell you you're not on ground. I'm saying there's nobody that competed against me that was more on ground than me, and that's the truth. But it was so easy to say that guy, and I still get described like that, again, Australian-based doctor. Now, Australian-based doctor, at a point in time, somebody nominated me to be minister, but I didn't think there was going to be a purpose to be that, because I wasn't looking for appointments. I was looking to be the governor of the state. So
you rejected that?
It didn't bother me. Some people said lobby, and I'm saying, look, I don't lobby for what I don't need, so I didn't lobby. I didn't need to be, I didn't want to be anything else than the governor of Ekiti State. That's what I'm prepared to do. I'm not looking for anything else. So I didn't really bother about that. But then when they want to refer to politics in Nigeria, they always refer to, he was an ex-dad and former dad. So it's very natural for anybody to think that because I'm not ex-this and ex-dad, I do not matter. And there will be meetings, calls, and they will say, look, we are calling the stakeholders. For instance, if they call the stakeholders of the party in Ekiti, I'm just a nobody, isn't it? So
within the APC then?
Yes, Naturally, I never went to House of Assembly. I never went to the House of Rep. I never contested for those things. I only contested for governor. So it was so easy to say, okay, well, we covered every format that and every format this. So it was very frustrating. And then eventually the person who won the so-called primaries at that time, we all worked to get him to be the governor of the state. And the way to pay back to me is to say, oh, well, anybody that supported Dr. Oluyede is a persona non grata.
Who was that?
Well, you know who he was. It was Kayode Fayemi. He was the governor at that time, but that's the way he wanted to do it. So it was everybody that supported Dr. Oluyede must not be given anything. And I can remember one of the chairmen, God bless him where he is right now, said, oh, Dr. Oluyede, you're not going to get anything in this party. And I said, no, I wasn't looking for anything. I was only looking to serve. And it was a systemic thing. And then,
all because you contested against him?
All because I contested against him and probably thought I gave him a rough time. That's fine. You lose, you gain in politics, I do understand that. Unfortunately, people who follow you get frustrated by that. But even when they capitulated and said, look, we'll serve, they didn't want them because they believe that if they do allow that, then they are building up their enemies. But to make the matters worse, then somebody got a crackhead one day and said, look, we're going to suspend Dr. Oluyede because he doesn't agree with us. Yes, I didn't agree with him because why would I agree with him if you are doing policies that doesn't really help mad people, if you are ostracizing mad people? And then he was going to contest for the national office. And I thought,
presidency.
For the presidency, and I thought, oh, well, I'm going to support somebody else, and I did.
You're going to support?
I was going to support
someone else?
Someone else, and I did support the present president at that time. And so because of that, I'm persona non grata in Ekiti. So he arranged for suspension of Dr. Oluyede in Ikere. He wasn't successful with that. Dragged on and dragged on. But then, at that time, I felt, look, I'm not going to be bothered about this party. Although they didn't suspend, but from then on, I decided I was not going to be a member of the APC, but I was going to support President Bola Tinubu.
And you did?
And I did. And that was how we formed Swagger.
You were part of the Swagger?
Well, I am a very, very substantial contributor to Swagger. But people would tell different stories because, unfortunately, when Swagger was on, I was preoccupied with work as a doctor because it was a period of COVID. Number one, they wouldn't open Australia up. But I don't think anybody has more supporters than I did in Swagger. It was even interesting that most people, as at that time, had decided that everybody that supported me would move out of APC. And when they decided that they were going to pick a candidate for Swagger for the primaries in APC, which was against our agreement that we're not going to use Swagger as a launch pad for gubernatorial. And then they did a sham election, which I wasn't present, and I didn't even consent to, and they decided that I lost an election that I didn't consent to, and I wasn't present. And they picked a candidate who eventually, from what I was told, was rejected. I wouldn't be able to win the sham election that would come in APC. I felt, no, it's trash. So I decided that I'm not going to be part of that charade anymore, and that was why I left APC. But I went to ADC with some certain understanding, and the certain understanding included that the possibility of the tendency of the APC not to produce even elections at the presidential level in our affair might produce a template for some other candidates to join us there. And independently ran ADC, which I'm proud of. It was very good. I'm probably the only person that didn't buy votes, and if I could get about 6,000 votes from Ekiti, when nobody, I'm so proud of the people. I'm very grateful to
You
those
came fourth.
I came forth. So I'm very, very proud of those people who vote by their conscience alone and not by money. I'm so proud of that. And if I didn't do that, I didn't distribute money or do anything, but people voted for me.
So you actually didn't distribute money?
No, I didn't pay a dime to anybody. I refused to. Because number one, why should I give anybody money to vote for me at that time? I didn't think. And I was only spending my own hard-earned money. Every money that I spent in politics is my money. I have never been given money by anybody else. So I thought, and I looked at the projections at that time. My supporters were coming here and saying, look, one party was giving so much and the other one was giving so. And I thought, oh, well, if I was going to get 200,000 votes and I needed to pay people $10,000, 10,000 naira for each vote, you can imagine how much it is. So I didn't, but I still got almost 6,000 votes. Number one, we didn't have enough time. We only had about 4 months to prepare for that. So we had 4 months to build a political structure in 177 wards of the state, and there are about 2,500 so polling units. It's going to take a lot of money to do that, a lot of time to do that, a lot of organization. So we had no time to do that, to gain that traction. So it wasn't really easy. I decided that I am not going to get involved anymore. And the reason is really basically is that I'm not desperate to be the governor of Ekiti State, but I'm determined to be the governor of Ekiti State. Most people do not understand the difference.
The difference.
Yes, I am determined that one way, one day, because I have a purpose to serve, because I have some things to deliver to the Ekiti people, I am determined. My livelihood does not depend on being the governor of Ekiti State. I actually do not see being the governor of Ekiti State as a promotion in my life, but I see it as a duty that I need to perform. Because if everything I've been able to be or become has been not because I am smarter than anybody, but I'm being blessed and given opportunities and having been to places in the world. I've been lucky as a doctor. I've been able to practice in so many different parts of the world, from Nigeria to the UK, to the Caribbean, to America, to Canada, to Australia, to a few other countries. I've learned so many things. I've been opportuned to be able to travel around the world. And I see that simple things make a difference in people's lives. I should be able to impact that. So I think I have contributions to impart, and I'm determined to do that, and I hope that one day I'll have the opportunity to do that. So I am determined that I'll keep on doing it. When I said I'm not doing it again, what I said is I'm not doing it again for now, until Ekiti people realize that things have to change.
People of the fountain.